Alright, so this one's actually a couple of questions, and I haven't actually pre-read any of them, so this should be pretty cool. When did you first start watching Doctor Who, and why did you like it? I actually started watching Doctor Who because my boyfriend made me. He actually saw it at his sister's house because she's a huge sci-fi nerd, and she's awesome, and I love her. Hi, Erica. She's like a sister to me now. And she made him start watching Doctor Who, and then he made me start watching Doctor Who, and I became a huge fan, like, instantly. I love everything about it. I think by the time I got to the second season and things started getting really interesting, I really, really fell in love. I think it was the second season where I really started really, really liking it. With, like, the episodes like Tooth and Claw and The Impossible Planet and The Satan Pit. Those were just so out of this world. I think as somebody who really loves science fiction and who really likes to write science fiction, I can tell you that those were just top of the line writing. And now I'm addicted. I'm actually finishing season 6 right now. And Doctor Who it's one of the best things ever. It's not hardcore science fiction, it's more like pulp science fiction, but it's really good science fiction, and I'm like completely out of the shot. Out of it. It's like a mosquito trying to get in my fucking video. I'm completely out of the shot. Um, do you and your boyfriend live together on your own? No, we don't. I actually still kind of live at home, which is a little depressing, to be honest. But I pay bills here, so it's kind of like I'm paying rent, and it's cheaper. And not until he's done with school, and I've actually made a career of myself. Well, not myself. I mean, I'm not gonna, like, God, that makes it sound like I'm just gonna go prostitute myself in a corner. I meant, like, I made a career for myself, not out of myself. Um, yeah, not yet. We're very big on responsibility and being responsible about when we do things, which is good. By the looks of your disheveled wall, I'm guessing you like astronomy. Yes, but I'm not necessarily good at it. I have this kind of thing where I like a lot of things, but I never actually get around to studying them. I love astronomy, and I know a decent amount. I actually did pretty well in my astronomy classes that I took in college, but for whatever reason, I haven't just sat down and actually study astronomy like I should, which I should because I really, really love what I learned and read. When did you come out? I was 18. I was really young when I came out. And it was by complete and total accident. It's actually, I think it's a funny story. I was dating someone at the time. His name was Michael. And I got bored in one of my college classes. It was actually Western Civilization. And one of my professors, I don't understand how somebody can even make Western Civilization. Like, you have the entirety of Western Civilization to make it fun. And he was the most boring person on the face of the planet. And so I started doodling, and like an idiot, I wanted to write, like, I love Michael on me. And I didn't want to do it, like, out here, because I thought if I did it out here, it would be too obvious, and people would read it. So I wrote it in here, so nobody would notice it, which was a genius plan, except for the fact that I completely forgot it was there. So, not even kidding, I had never in my... Fucking mosquito trying to get in my shot again. I had never in my life gotten any mail, ever. I mean, nothing. And out of the blue, my mom knocks on my door that day and goes, "Oh, this just came for you, this letter." And she hands it to me. And the moment she hands it to me, I go, "Oh, let me see it." And she read my hand. And she goes, "Who's Michael?" And I was like, "It says Michelle. It's French." And of course, she wasn't buying it. So there was like a whole fiasco. And she cried, and I cried. And it's actually a pretty heartwarming story because she asked me if I just thought that. If I was scared of telling her because I thought that she wouldn't love me anymore. And I said, yeah, that I actually did think that might be a problem. And she actually looked me straight in the eyes and she said, in Spanish, of course, that there was nothing wrong with being gay and that she didn't care. And she said, but even if I had been a criminal, I was still her son and she would love me regardless. Like, no matter what, that's what families do and that's what parents do. And I think that was probably one of the most beautiful things I've ever been told in my life. And I openly wept like a baby. I'm not even gonna lie. I cried so hard. Favorite Legend of Zelda game and why? Oh, that's not fair. Come on. It's Zelda. I'm gonna go with Wind Waker. I love Wind Waker. I think Wind Waker has like this brilliant art design. I know it has like that shoddy period, like a shoddy moment where like you have to find all the 8 pieces and then you have to actually pay for the stupid maps for Tingle because he likes to ruin every fucking thing ever. But in general, I think Wind Waker is just wonderful. I love everything about Wind Waker. I love like, the combat. I love like the actual design of the overworld because I am actually a huge fan of A Wizard of Earthsea, which is an amazing fantasy story about Ursula Le Guin. If you haven't read it, go read it. It's really good. She's fantastic. Really old school fantasy, but really good fantasy. And the place just reminds me of, I mean, that version of Hyrule really reminds me of Earthsea, and the whole thing reminds me of Wizard of Earthsea. And it's nice. I loved it. I loved everything about it. I think it was like a creative peak for Nintendo. I really love Majora's Mask as well. I think it's underrated. I think it's brilliant. And I actually really love Skyward Sword, which I know a lot of people don't, but I think Skyward Sword is like out of this world. Like, it's a brilliant, brilliant Skyward Sword. Um, and that's it. I mean, really, I'm kind of hit or miss. I like A Link to the Past as well. It's pretty good. It's actually really, really good. I think the only Zelda games I don't like are Twilight Princess, which I really don't care for. Don't make me get into it, because this video will extend to like probably 60 minutes at the very least, just on why I think the environment and the overworld design sucks. And I'm not big on Ocarina, but that's because I didn't play it when it released. I played it like a long time after, so it didn't have the same effect on me. Okay, so that's it for these. Some more. What do you think of Final Fantasy XI? Have you played it? Have you looked at FF14 online? No, and here's why. It's really hard to actually get me into any kind of online games. I'm really picky about them. I actually don't really enjoy multiplayer games outside of fighters. I really love fighting games. I'm actually pretty good at them. I just don't play them as often as I should anymore. But I really don't care for online games. Like, my boyfriend struggles to get me to play World of Warcraft. I mean, he's a huge World of Warcraft addict. He's been playing it for the longest time, and he's always, like, trying to buy me, like, the monthly fee or whatever, just so I can play with him, and I'll play sporadically. Like, I'll do it for, like, 2 weeks and then quit and not keep playing. It's really hard to get me something. Like, the only exception that I can think of is actually this game called Gotham City Imposters, which everybody should play and download because it's free on Steam if you have a computer. And it's actually a lot of fun. It's kind of like Call of Duty, but if you mix it with like the wackiness of something like Mario Kart, it's just insane and it's fun. And I'm actually pretty good at it. I usually get like top marks and everything, and kill everyone, either because I'm good or because they suck. I don't know. Part 2. If you could live in any city, where would you live and why? Ooh, that's a good question. I don't know. I've actually talked about this with my boyfriend. I joke about Florida a lot, but I like certain areas. There's places here I wouldn't mind living. There's some places that are up north that are probably really nice, but I'd probably kill myself if I had to deal with snow. Ugh. I don't have the patience. I'm gonna be salting the area and then shoveling. I don't know. I'd probably just starve in my house and die because I would never go out. I wouldn't do it. I don't care. I feel bad for anybody. I'd rather deal with hurricanes. Just put up the panels and, you know, hope you don't go flying in the middle of the night like freaking Dorothy and landing Oz. So yeah, that's the ones for these, which are actually pretty cool. So no FF11, no FF14 online, and people have been trying to get me to play like League of Legends. Like, people here on Tumblr, friends, have been trying to get me to play League of Legends, or Defense of the Ancients 2, or even Diablo 3. I have Diablo 3, you know, I've never even, like, finished that game. I got to, like, level 5 and I quit. I really have no patience. Oh, shit. No, I didn't swallow the mosquito that was previously annoying me. He's still flying around. I'm not big on online gaming. I'm really not. Which is probably one of the reasons why I don't really even have Xbox Live Gold. I have Steam because it's free. Steam is awesome. So yeah. What will you do with someone who follows you on Tumblr, finds you somewhere in your city? I would give him or her my condolences for being stuck in Florida somehow. I am so sorry. I swear we're not all crazy. I know we're always making the news for weird stuff, like, you know, taking a dog. I just give me a moment. Taking a dump in your ex's house and then asking the police, what was I supposed to do? I know that sounds crazy, but we're not all like that, and some of us can actually count, just so you know. So, you know, I know, like, we're always like 3 years late to actual elections. In fact, I think Florida should start voting for the next elections like right now, so we're actually on time with the next elections in 2016. It's sad, but whatever. So, I would feel bad for them. But then I won't invite them to my house, because I want my house to be a Tumblr Underground Railroad. Like, I plan to leave, like, penis-shaped candles on the windowsill to, like, let them know that this is a safe house where they can come in. and I can serve them all kinds of awesome things and be nice to them and make lots of Tumblr friends because I love Tumblr. Okay, so here's another one. What do you do when you're feeling down, totally emotionless, or otherwise unmotivated? I drink vitamin A Vegemin because it helps you if you're feeling listless and if you are unpopular and pop out of parties. Yep. And if you didn't get that reference, I am pointing the finger of shame at you right now because it's Lucille Ball and you should be ashamed of yourself. No, really. Like, Google it right now. Do it. YouTube it. In fact, stop watching this now and just go watch I Love Lucy. Just do it. I don't care. I'll just sit here and babble to myself. What do I do when I'm feeling down? I write it out. I actually learned the strategy that worked for me. I don't know if it works for anybody else, but for me, I learned the strategy that the best way to deal with sadness or when I get sick or anything is just to write it out and deal with it. I actually let myself get into that depression. I listen to sad music and I let myself hit rock bottom because I know at some point I'm just gonna have to wake up from it and crawl back out, and it's just a natural progression. I just speed it up so that way I get out of it faster. I think we've been taught from the moment we're born that we should just always be happy and that being sad is a negative thing, and it isn't. It's a human thing. Everybody feels sad at some point. In some cases it can become severe, in which cases it's an actual disorder, and obviously people who have that need help, and I did need help at some point. I actually was on antidepressants for some time during my teen years. So, but we're made to feel shame about our sadness, and we shouldn't. We live in a society, even in a nation, if you live in the States, where happiness, the pursuit of happiness, is even written in our Constitution. I mean, it's very serious how hard people try to like ingrain this into our brains. But you shouldn't feel ashamed of being sad. It's okay. You're human. If you didn't feel sad, then you wouldn't be human. You would actually be a sociopath at that point. You really would. So I think, yeah, you would. Yeah. So there's that answer. Alright, so there's another one here, and it says, Beautiful Creatures, book/film, what did you think? Favorite character? If you've never read or seen either, what is your favorite horror fantasy generic trope, i.e. werewolf, witch, vampire, etc.? I actually have never read Beautiful Creatures, and I have no idea what it is, so now I'm going to Google it, because I really want to know what it is, and I don't know, I'm curious. Favorite horror fantasy generic trope. I love zombies. I think they're awesome because, okay, number one, it can actually happen. It's actually more along the lines of science fiction horror than it really is fantasy horror. Because if there's fantasy horror like vampires, you know, like the likelihood is like really poor, but a lot of zombie science fiction usually has a lot of zombie horror usually has a science fiction explanation, some sort of disease or some sort of genetic mutation, and actually it's pretty cool. And it's feasible, as you can tell by the fact that there's people eating faces of other people here in Florida. Let's see, and they're scary. It's not like, you know, like if you get bitten by a werewolf, there's a chance you can turn into a werewolf and then you get all these cool powers, you know. Or if you're a vampire, you can become a really cool vampire. But you know, if you get bitten by a zombie or touched or the disease spreads, you're screwed. You get nothing. Like you're just like a mindless husk, which is why there's no shows based on the life of a zombie or the cool powers of a zombie, or at least I don't think there are. If there are, somebody should tell me. I like all of them though. I like werewolves. I think werewolves are really fascinating. They're very interesting mystical creatures. They're usually ignored, but they're actually pretty cool. I like vampires. Especially when they weren't related to vapid teenage girls and didn't spend most of their time as virgins in high school, which is stupid for the record. I know that people are welcome to change how things work because it's fine. I mean, it's okay to be creative, but come on, really? Like, you're a vampire, you're like 104, and you're picking on a 17-year-old girl, and you have nothing better to do with your life than to sit there and take geometry like 1,000 times? Really? Really? Like, come on. Come on, be serious. So yeah, vampires are actually really cool, especially when vampires were actually really interesting in, probably from like about Carmilla or about Bram Stoker's writing of vampires, where they actually make them more sexualized. They're more of a they're more like a representation of lust. I think each one of them is a different representation of something. I think that as far as they're concerned, zombies are probably the ones that are really horror. And I'm babbling, so I'm gonna shut up. The last one? No, this isn't the last one, but it might be the last one. I don't know. Whatever. Biotics or plasmids? That's not even fair. That's like trying to make me choose between my children. Obviously, I'm gonna pick the coolest child, but that's not the point. I'm gonna go with biotics. I think if Citadel taught us anything, and if James Vega learned anything from his encounter with Liara, is that biotics are really powerful. Plasmids can be really unstable too, and you become addicted to that. Do you become addicted to the atom? It's the atom you become addicted to. Plus, I mean, biotics have their negatives, but they're kind of all-purpose use. You can pretty much use them for anything. They're not like tied to like one element or just one power. You can pretty much do anything with it as long as you know what you're doing. So yeah, I'm gonna go with biotics. For the record, this is totally random, but while I was playing Citadel DLC, I actually found out that apparently Jacob is supposed to have biotic powers, which I didn't know because I never used Jacob because he's so fucking boring in the entire thing that I've never used him. And so when they were having a discussion about biotics and they mentioned that he was a biotic, I was actually legitimately shocked because I really couldn't give a shit. Like, I just can't, I'm sorry, totally random, but Jacob sucks. There, I said it. Okay, so this was actually really good. It says, since we were discussing it the other day, what exactly about Legend of Zelda Skyward Sword makes it such an incredible entry in the Zelda series? Okay, so I've actually had this discussion with a bunch of people, and I really think Skyward Sword is amazing, and here's why. I always felt that the Legend of Zelda series is actually not really an action game or an adventure game or even an action-adventure game. I always thought of it as more of a puzzle game. I always thought that everything about it was about a puzzle, like how you progress in the environments, the dungeons, the enemy design, the bosses. It's all just puzzles. You just have to figure out the answer to every puzzle, which is why I feel like Shadow of the Colossus really borrows from The Legend of Zelda, and they have admitted that they do. And that's why I love Shadow of the Colossus, because everybody thinks they're bosses, but they're not. They're just like giant moving puzzles, which makes it really cool when you figure out what you're supposed to do. And I feel like Skyward Sword is just ingenious with that concept, with the whole concept of the puzzle building part. They just build these enemies that are just fantastic, and every boss is just so good. I don't think there's even like a single bad boss, and it's very nice. Like and the art is sublime. I mean, it's gorgeous. I actually didn't think they could even top Wind Waker with art, but they kind of did. They did a really amazing job with Skyward Sword's art. It's out of this world. And the combat's great. I actually like the motion controls. I think they added a lot to the game because on top of the fact that the enemies are more interesting now, you actually have to pay attention to what you're doing. It's not just like, like lock on, dodge, hit. It's not that the other ones were too easy. This one's still kind of easy, but it was great. And the music was perfect. The story was actually really good. It was actually really well told, and it wasn't intrusive, which was really nice. And the overworld design was really, really good. So overall, I just love everything about Skyward Sword. I was kind of skeptical because A, it was on the Wii, and B, it was after Twilight Princess, which, like I said, Twilight Princess, whatever. But I think Skyward Sword is just genius. I mean, I could go on, but then this video is going to be like, I don't know, maybe 40 minutes long. That's too long. I've already gone too long, so I'm going to shut up now. Yay, I'm done. And I want to say thanks to everyone who actually sent in questions and who actually reblogged this video. It has like 50-something notes at this point. I had no idea that it would have this many notes. But thank you, you guys are awesome, and I love every single one of you. And I know people just say that, but I really, really love like my Tumblr family. This is gonna sound weird, but my internet home is Tumblr. That's literally where I go for everything. Like, I don't check my Facebook that much. I don't check everything that much. There's like a couple of forums I visit because I've been there forever, but Tumblr is literally where I go the moment I log on, and that's where I've made new friends and met people, and I love everybody I've met here. So thank you so much if you send questions. Thank you so much if you watched the video, and thank you so much if you didn't do either, but you still follow me. You are all wonderful. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. Thank you.